That's Steinmetz, Daryl, the Guru Johnson with you, and let's get right to it. Joining the show, Odyssey NFL insider Brian Baldinger. Insider calls presented by BetQL. Get access to data and insights the sports books don't want you to see. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetQL app or visit BetQL.com today. Baldy, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm just looking at this trade, and how can you not like it from the 49ers perspective?
You can't. Like, you know, I think, you know, I know the 49ers were just playing, you know, in Charlotte a couple weeks ago. They got a chance to see McCaffrey play a little bit, but nobody's really been paying attention to him. And the fact is he's having a good season. He leads the team in rushing. He leads the team in receiving. He's an elite person. Like, he's just a great, I mean, I've known his mom. I knew his, you know, his uncle. Like, I knew the family going all the way back to when I was at Duke. But this is a great kid from a great family that is a team-oriented guy. And he's in a horrible situation in Charlotte. I mean, they're in Carolina right now. I mean, it's a horrible situation. Everybody, it's a fire sale right now. And this is a guy that when you take a great player and talent, Steiny, and then you put him on a team that's basically telling the whole league, we're here to win it. Like, all you're going to do is get better performances out of him. Like, I believe he'll start Sunday. I don't think this is a learning curve. Like, I think this guy's going to step in and play this, you know, this coming weekend.
Baldy, let me ask you this, because I know I'm like Niner fans. I'm excited. Whose job becomes more easier? Is it Kyle calling the plays? Because last week, I know Atlanta offensively was an embarrassment, but two guys dropped balls that could have went for touchdowns. Yep. Or is it Jimmy Garoppolo? How does this affect the offense?
Well, it affects it because they have not, and this is no knock on anybody they've had, going back to Mostert and all the different guys that have come through there. Like, nobody catches the ball like McCaffrey. Like, this is a great set of hands. He has his own route tree. I mean, his Texas routes, and don't want to get technical, but I mean, his angle routes and his ability to come out of the backfield, screens, like, it opens up an entire new wing of the offense because of how you get him in space. Like, he's Steph Curry with the crossover dribble. Like, he beats people off the crossover all the time. And that's what you have to do. You've got to create space and ways to get him open, whether it's taking everybody vertical and letting him work underneath. There's a lot of ways that Kyle can get creative. But at the end of the day, Jimmy is always going to have an outlet to go with the ball right now. If he doesn't like the deep shot, if he doesn't like the two-man side, if he doesn't like the bunch formation and what they're doing, you got this guy coming out of the backfield. Like, you can get it to him in so many different ways right now.
Yeah, I guess that's what I want to follow up on. And we're joined by Brian Baldinger, Odyssey NFL insider. You know, the 49ers have made it clear they have been going about it, running back by committee. They've had 5 different leading rushers the last 5 years. To a layman, what are we going to notice different about Christian McCaffrey than the other 5 guys they've used over the years or so?
Well, I think I think, first of all, the receiving aspect is real. You know, he caught 100 passes in this league in a season a few years ago. I mean, he's got elite receiving skills. But more than that, like, you just watch him run between the tackles. Like, he's not a big guy. You know, that was knock on him coming out of Stanford. Like, he's not going to be able to take the punishment. But just watch any game and see how he's able to avoid punishment. Like, his ability to avoid big hits going through the tackles and through the gauntlet is second to none. Like, he just has great vision and next level vision about how to avoid those kind of hits.
We said the NFC is wide open, Baldy, like Jerry Rice on a good day. What do you think now that they got this edition of C-Mac? I mean, is it the Niners conference to lose?
Well, you know, it's very, very early. You know, I mean, Philadelphia's off to a great start. We've seen teams with great starts not finish great. Nobody's anointing them by any chance or by any means. But, you know, anybody that thought maybe Green Bay was going to be a good team this year, well, they've got things to figure out. I think they're better than Minnesota, whatever they become. I think they're better than Green Bay, whatever they become. I think they're better than the Rams, whoever they are. You know, I'm just putting question marks next to these teams because they can still come out of out of some mediocrity their play, but they're certainly a contending team. I mean, if you just say, okay, who's a Final Four team? Like the 49ers, you can't have that conversation. Who's in the Final Four, meaning who's in the AFC, NFC championship games. Like, you can't have that conversation and say the 49ers don't belong right now.
Brian Baldinger joining us on 95.7 The Game. He's our Odyssey NFL insider. Let me just ask you this. If Trey Lance next year, I know we don't know a lot about him, but if he's the quarterback next year, what does McCaffrey offer to him and his style of play?
Well, I mean, you just put those two together, whether it's, read option throws. Like, there's just a combination and a variety of things you do. It's like a two-man game of basketball. Like, you could clear out. There's throws on the move. There's drag slide type plays where, you're faking one way, you're coming the other way, and you get into McCaffrey. There's easy completions for Trey. I mean, these throws that you watch McCaffrey catch, none of these throws are difficult. Anybody can make these throws. But the fact is that you put him out in space. I don't care if he's going up against Fred Warner. He made Fred miss the other day. He's going to take elite tacklers, and he's going to put them in the deep freeze. And so I think he's a tremendous asset to any quarterback or any offense.
Baldy, I just told Steiny and the listeners, the Niners got an all-pro on every level. He said, Goo, not a quarterback. Is this the best offense in football now?
Well, I mean, you got to go do it. I mean, if you look at Buffalo, I don't think they're as good as Buffalo because they can't push the ball, or they haven't pushed the ball down the field the way Josh Allen can to a fleet of receivers. On any given day, Mahomes can light you up. Even last week's performance where they lost, I mean, they can still light you up. So I can't put them in that category simply because, and this is not a knock on Jimmy, but Jimmy can't play the way Josh and Patrick Mahomes can. And I'm not criticizing him, but I mean, that's just the eye test. I mean, he can't play that style of football.
Brian, thank you so much for joining us. You'll be at Chargers Seahawks this weekend for Compass Media. Have a great call, and thanks as always for joining us.
My pleasure, Steiny. You bet, guys. Take care, Guru.
Yeah, it's Brian Baldinger.